I don't think so, right?
Right. I think there's sort of two categories that I think are probably three categories really that are appropriate. One is things like followers, right? So you do want to take a look at that. If nobody's following you, it's probably not overly effective. So I think those are kind of like the base metrics. I don't know that they give you the best idea, but it would be number of fans, number of followers, number of retweets, things like that. So I think those are kind of like the base metrics. The second bucket of metrics that I think matters is engagement. So are you noticing that you're actually creating real authentic engagement from people? And this is where they start recommending your product to a friend and things like that. And it can be difficult to track because it often travels across multiple mediums. So for example, when I was running marketing for the startup, we had found a blogger who wrote a post about us, and I just left a simple comment saying, thanks so much, we really appreciate you taking the time, and you had some really interesting suggestions. If you have a chance, give me a call, I'd love to talk to you. He called me, we had a quick conversation, and he then, for the next year, he went out and recommended us to countless people. He posted recommendations about our product on discussion forums. And so engagement can be a little bit harder to track because of the way it travels, but I think the second bucket is to look at those engagement metrics. And then I think the third bucket is action metrics. And it depends on the type of social media strategy that you have, whether or not you can track the action metrics, but are your links getting clicked? Even if they're not selling your product, or just your general Bitly links or promoting blog posts or promoting other people's stuff. So are you generating action from people? Are you seeing conversions come through your website? And so those are kind of the three buckets that I would use to kind of look at a comprehensive metrics package.
No, these are great points. I know you do a lot of training, and training can get a little tricky with social media because everyone thinks that, hey, I can open a Twitter account, so why do I need training? So what do you focus in training, and what do you recommend people for training?
Yeah, our approach to training is maybe a little bit different. I think you're absolutely right. You don't need help to create an account on Twitter. That's not the hard part. It's designed so that any idiot can do it, no offense, if anyone's had problems. But the whole point of most of these sites is they should be user-friendly for people with a certain level of technical proficiency.
Right.
So we don't really spend a lot of time focusing on how to physically create accounts. We have actually a social marketing system that we use that walks through the different stages of planning and action for a successful social media campaign. So it starts with listening. So, understanding the landscape and listening to the conversations that are happening. The second question is, what are your marketing strategies? What do you want to achieve? The third thing is understanding who your target audience is. And that's where a lot of people go wrong too, is they define their target too broadly. And then from there, once you know exactly who it is you're trying to reach and what you want from them, you can get a little bit more tactical. So then you can get into trying to visualize the cycle in my head as we go through. But then from there, you can get into selecting, okay, what are the tools that are going to make the most sense? How do I execute with excellence? And then how can I measure and continue to refine? So I think it's really more of a cycle in terms of how you approach social media. So we work on the overall cycle, and then when we get into specific sites, it's really about optimizing two things. The first thing you want to optimize is your asset, right? So how do you create a fan page that rocks? How do you create a cool Twitter account? And it's amazing how many decisions have to go into these things, like what's the Twitter handle, what's the photo, and depending on the size of your company, I've worked with large companies where this takes months to get alignment on. But then the second part is, what is the content plan? So what are you actually going to talk to people about that's relevant, interesting, and drives engagement? And that's not easy to figure out. And so that's where we really focus, is on building content plans that connect with people, optimizing the tools, and then helping people to streamline the way that they use the tools also, so they're not wasting time. So really, we focus on approaches that save people time and money and get better results than what they could get on their own.
Wow. Now, your company is called Bootcamp Digital, right? Can you tell us a little bit about it and where your focus area is?
Yeah, so my company is Bootcamp Digital. Our web address is www.bootcampdigital.com. And we've been around for about 2 years now, and we really focus on training and strategic consulting. And so we've been training people for a long time, for probably around 2 years. And really where the training aspect came from was we started off doing a lot of consulting, and it was really obvious really early on that the best results come when you help teach people how to execute some of these things themselves, because the brands know their tone of voice better, and they can typically create much better content themselves. And so that's where we like to focus on training and empowering people, and then some strategic consulting to help answer questions and provide guidance along the way. And so on the training platforms, we do customized corporate training with big companies. We've trained a lot of ad agencies. And then we also have self-learning packages that are available for small businesses. So we actually sell online at-home learning packages. And these were really created so that people can get more value. So it's expensive to hire a consultant like me, and an average smaller medium business may not have that budget. And so what we've done is we've created online training packages where people can get all the information they need, get access to the best tools and resources to build a strategic campaign, and get going right away. So those are kind of the key focus areas.
Wow, that's great. I think it looks like you have a plate full of work. And,
yes.
A lot of initiatives to go. But this is great. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Krista,
for having
doing
me.
this. Yeah, and thank you for being with us.